Billionaire CEO's son is kidnapped. His ex-wife is the FBI negotiator assigned to the case. Agent Vale, we have a code red situation. High-profile kidnapping in Seattle. 5-year-old victim, tech billionaire father. Ransom demand of $50 million plus classified technology. FBI Special Agent Serena Vale looked up from her case files, her coffee growing cold as the weight of the assignment settled over her. At 34, she was the Bureau's most successful hostage negotiator, known for her perfect success rate and her ability to talk anyone down from any ledge. Victim's name? She asked, already reaching for her go-bag. Ezra Thorne, son of Kieran Thorne, CEO of Thorne Technologies. The file slipped from Serena's hands, scattering crime scene photos across her desk. The name hit her like a physical blow, bringing back memories she had spent 5 years trying to bury. Kieran Thorne, her ex-husband. The man who had once been her everything, who had shattered her heart so completely that she had fled across the country to rebuild herself from the pieces. Agent Vale, are you all right? I can't take this case. Her voice was barely a whisper. There's a conflict of interest. Ma'am, with respect, you're the only negotiator with a perfect success rate. The father specifically requested you by name. He said if anyone could bring his son home safely, it would be you. Have you ever had to face the person who destroyed you while trying to save what matters most to them? Have you ever been forced to confront your deepest trauma while the clock counts down on an innocent child's life? This is the story of Serena Vale, a woman who became the FBI's best negotiator to prove she was strong enough to save everyone except herself, until fate forced her to confront the one case that could break her completely. What Serena didn't know was that Kieran Thorne had spent 5 years carrying the weight of their failed marriage, raising his son as a single father while building a tech empire that meant nothing without the family he had lost. The 5-year-old who was now missing was the child of his second marriage, born after Serena had already disappeared from his life, but raised with stories of the brilliant FBI agent who had once been part of their family. If you believe in the power of redemption and second chances, hit that like button right now. Because this story will take you inside the highest stakes negotiation of 2 lives, where saving a child means confronting the love that destroyed them both. Stay with me as we go back 5 years to where it all began, in the gleaming towers of Seattle, where 2 ambitious people fell in love so hard and fast that they forgot to build a foundation strong enough to weather the storms that would come. 5 years earlier, the 32nd floor of Thorne Technologies hummed with the energy of a company revolutionizing artificial intelligence. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered breathtaking views of Puget Sound, while cutting-edge servers and holographic displays created an atmosphere where the future felt tangible. Serena Vale stood in the executive conference room, her FBI credentials clipped to a tailored black suit, briefing the tech mogul whose company had been targeted by international cybercriminals. At 29, she was already making a name for herself in the Bureau's cybercrime division, known for her ability to think like criminals while maintaining absolute moral clarity. Mr. Thorne, our intelligence suggests that the hackers aren't just after your data. They're specifically targeting your military AI contracts. Kieran Thorne looked up from the classified documents spread across his mahogany desk. At 31, he commanded attention effortlessly. 6 feet 2 inches of lean strength wrapped in perfectly tailored suits, dark hair that caught the light, and those intense gray eyes that seemed to analyze everything with computer-like precision. As CEO of Thorne Technologies, he had built an AI empire that governments around the world competed to access. How sophisticated are we talking about? His voice carried the quiet authority of someone accustomed to making decisions that affected national security. Sophisticated enough to breach your preliminary firewalls. We believe they're state-sponsored, possibly working for countries that want to reverse engineer your technology. And you think you can stop them? I know I can stop them, but I'll need complete access to your systems and full cooperation from your team. Kieran studied her face with an intensity that made Serena's pulse quicken despite her professional demeanor. Agent Vale, do you understand what my AI technology is capable of? I understand that it's valuable enough for foreign governments to risk international incidents to steal it. It's more than valuable. It's revolutionary. The applications for defense, medicine, space exploration. This technology could change the world, which is exactly why we can't let it fall into the wrong hands. and you're confident you can protect it. Mr. Thorne, I don't fail. Ever. Something shifted in Kieran's expression, a spark of admiration mixed with curiosity. That's quite a claim. It's quite a track record. I like confidence, especially when it's backed by competence. Then we should work well together. For the next 6 weeks, Serena practically lived at Thorne Technologies, working 18-hour days to identify security vulnerabilities while building an impenetrable digital fortress around Kieran's most sensitive projects. Their professional relationship evolved into something that felt much more personal, though neither acknowledged it directly. You don't have to stay so late, Kieran said one evening, finding Serena still at her computer at midnight. My security can wait until morning. Your security can't wait. These hackers are operating in real time. Every hour we delay gives them another opportunity to find a weakness. When's the last time you went home? I went home yesterday, or maybe the day before. That's not sustainable. Neither is letting foreign agents steal technology that could be weaponized against American interests. Kieran moved closer to her workstation, and Serena became acutely aware of his presence. You know, there's something impressive about someone who cares that much about her work. I care about protecting what matters. What matters to you, Agent Vale? She looked up from her computer to find him studying her with an intensity that made her heart race. Justice. Protecting people who can't protect themselves. Making sure the good guys win. And what about protecting yourself? That's not my job. Maybe it should be someone's job. The honesty in his voice undid something in Serena's careful composure. Mr. Thorne, I think we should maintain professional boundaries. You're probably right. But I find myself wanting to know you beyond cybersecurity protocols and threat assessments. That would be complicated. The best things usually are. You're a civilian contractor. I'm a federal agent. I'm also a man who's incredibly attracted to your intelligence, your dedication, and your complete inability to back down from a challenge. Those are professional qualities. They're also personal qualities that make me want to spend time with you outside of conference rooms and computer labs. Serena saved her work and closed her laptop, needing to create distance before she made a decision she couldn't take back. I should go home. Have dinner with me first. Kieran, we can't. We can. We're both adults, both single, both clearly feeling something that has nothing to do with AI security. Your company has contracts worth billions. My investigation could affect your entire business. My investigation is wrapping up successfully, thanks to your work. And my interest in you has nothing to do with professional gratitude. What does it have to do with? The fact that you're the most fascinating woman I've ever met. You're brilliant, fearless, completely dedicated to something bigger than yourself. You challenge me to think differently about everything. Against every regulation and professional instinct, Serena heard herself saying yes. The restaurant Kieran chose was intimate and discreet, the kind of place where Seattle's elite could dine without attracting attention. Serena felt slightly out of place in her simple black dress among the designer gowns and carefully cultivated sophistication. You look beautiful, Kieran said as they were seated at a corner table overlooking the harbor. I feel underdressed for your world. You look perfect, real, authentic, not trying to be anyone other than yourself. Is that unusual in your social circle? More unusual than you might imagine. Most people I meet want something from me. Money, connections, access to technology. You're the first person who seems completely unimpressed by my wealth. I'm impressed by your mind. Your wealth is just a byproduct. That's exactly what I mean. You see the person, not the portfolio. They talked for 4 hours, about everything except work. Serena learned that Kieran had started his first company at 22, that he preferred books to parties, that he sometimes wondered if his success was worth the isolation it brought. Don't you get lonely? She asked as they shared dessert. Constantly. Success is supposed to bring fulfillment, but mostly it brings obligations and people who want to use you for their own agendas. What do you want that you can't buy? Genuine connection. Someone who sees me as more than a bank account or a business opportunity. Someone who challenges me to be better than I am. Is that what this is? Genuine connection. With you, it feels like something even better. What's that? Partnership. Real partnership with someone who has her own mission, her own purpose, her own strength. 6 months later, their relationship had evolved into something beautiful and intense, and completely consuming. They kept it quiet due to professional considerations, but their connection deepened with every stolen moment together. "I have something to tell you," Kieran said one Sunday morning as they sat on his penthouse terrace overlooking Elliott Bay. "That sounds serious." "I love you." The words hung between them like a confession. Serena felt her heart stop and restart as she processed what he had said. "Kieran, I know it's complicated. I know your career is dangerous and demanding. I know my business requires travel and long hours. But I love you, Serena. I love your brilliant mind, your fearless heart, your complete dedication to justice." "I love you too," she whispered, surprising herself with the admission. "I love you more than I ever thought possible." "Then marry me." "What? Marry me?" "Not because it makes sense professionally or socially, but because I can't imagine building a life with anyone else." "Kieran, we've only been together 6 months. I've known since our first dinner that you were the one. Everything since then has just been confirmation. What about our careers? What about the complications? We'll figure it out together. We're both smart, resourceful people. We can make this work." Serena looked at this man who had become her entire world, who supported her dangerous career and challenged her to be better every day. "Yes," she said, surprising herself again. "Yes, I'll marry you." The wedding was small and elegant, held in the garden of Kieran's Mercer Island estate. Serena wore a simple ivory dress that made her look luminous, while Kieran could barely contain his joy as he watched her walk down the aisle. "Do you, Kieran, take Serena to be your wife, to support her dreams and stand by her through all the challenges of life together?" "I do. With everything I have, for everything we'll build together." "Do you, Serena, take Kieran to be your husband, to share your life and your heart, even when duty calls you away?" "I do." For 18 months, their marriage was everything they had hoped for. They balanced demanding careers with stolen weekends and midnight conversations. Kieran supported Serena's increasingly dangerous assignments, while she helped him navigate the ethical implications of creating technology that could change the world. But success in both their fields came with a price neither had anticipated. "I'll be gone for 3 weeks, Serena said, packing her go-bag for an undercover assignment. Deep cover operation in Miami. Tech trafficking ring with international connections. 3 weeks with no contact. Kieran looked up from his laptop, where he was reviewing contracts for a Pentagon AI project. It's the only way to maintain cover. These people are sophisticated. Any communication could blow the operation. And if something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. I'm good at this, remember? You're the best at this. That's what worries me." "What do you mean?" "I mean that you take risks other agents won't take. You put yourself in danger because you care more about the outcome than your own safety. That's what makes me effective. That's what keeps me awake at night." Serena stopped packing to look at her husband fully. "Are you asking me to change how I do my job? I'm asking you to consider that you have someone who wants you to come home safely. I always come home safely. So far. Kieran, this is who I am. This is what I do. I thought you understood that. I do understand it. I just wish I understood how to stop worrying about losing you. You won't lose me. How can you promise that? Because I'm careful, I'm trained, and I'm very good at reading people and situations. And because you're lucky. Luck has nothing to do with it. Luck has everything to do with it." Eventually, every agent's luck runs out. The conversation ended there, but the tension remained. Kieran threw himself into his Pentagon project, while Serena disappeared into the Miami undercover operation that would change everything between them. The call came at 3:47 a.m. Kieran was in his home office, working on AI protocols, when his phone rang with the ringtone he had assigned to Serena's FBI supervisor. "Mr. Thorne, this is Special Agent Marcus Rivera. I'm calling about your wife." Kieran's blood ran cold. "What happened?" "There was an incident during her undercover operation. The suspects discovered her identity and took her hostage along with 2 other agents." "Is she alive?" "Yes, but the situation is volatile. We have negotiators on scene, but the suspects are making impossible demands." "What kind of demands?" "They want safe passage out of the country and $20 million in cryptocurrency. They're threatening to kill the hostages if we don't comply within 12 hours. Give them what they want." "Mr. Thorne, we don't negotiate with terrorists. It sets a precedent that endangers every agent in the field." "I don't care about precedent. I care about my wife." "I understand, but Agent Rivera, I'm worth $3 billion. If it's about money, I can wire 20 million right now." It's not about money. It's about not incentivizing future hostage situations. So you're willing to let 3 agents die for policy reasons? We're not willing to let them die at all. We have our best negotiator on scene. Agent Vale will be home safely. But she wasn't. The rescue operation went wrong in ways that would haunt both Kieran and Serena for the rest of their lives. The SWAT team breached the warehouse at dawn, just as Serena was beginning to negotiate her own release. She had been working on the lead suspect for hours, using her psychological training to build rapport and find common ground. In the chaos of the breach, shots were fired. Serena threw herself in front of a fellow agent, taking a bullet to her abdomen that would save her colleague's life, but cost her something infinitely more precious. She was 12 weeks pregnant. She hadn't told Kieran yet, wanting to surprise him when she came home from the assignment. The pregnancy had been a wonderful secret she was carrying along with her FBI credentials. The bullet didn't kill her, but the trauma of the injury and the emergency surgery that followed cost them their first child. Kieran received the call while he was in his car, racing to the Miami hospital where Serena was being treated. "Mr. Thorne, your wife is stable and expected to make a full recovery. But I need to inform you that she suffered a miscarriage during surgery. She was 12 weeks pregnant." The phone slipped from Kieran's hands as the news hit him like a physical blow. Serena had been pregnant. They had been going to have a child. And now they weren't, because she had chosen to put herself in danger without telling him about the life she was carrying. When he reached the hospital, Serena was unconscious, sedated after surgery. He sat beside her bed for 18 hours, holding her hand and trying to process the magnitude of what they had lost. When she finally woke up, her first words were an apology. "I'm sorry," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, Kieran. Why didn't you tell me? I wanted it to be a surprise. I wanted to tell you when I came home safely. You were pregnant, and you went on an undercover operation. I didn't know the risks would be so high. You never know the risks. That's the nature of your job. Kieran, please. I need you right now. I needed you to be safe. I needed you to consider that your choices don't just affect you anymore. I was being careful. You were being reckless. You threw yourself in front of gunfire. I was protecting my partner. What about protecting our child?" The words hung between them like an accusation. Serena felt them like physical blows, each one confirming her own worst fears about her choices. "I didn't know I was going to be in a hostage situation." "You're always in potential hostage situations. That's your career. Are you saying this is my fault?" "I'm saying that choices have consequences. Do you think I wanted this to happen? Do you think I chose to lose our baby? I think you chose to put yourself in danger without considering what you had to lose. I was doing my job. Your job cost us our child." The accusation shattered what was left of Serena's composure. "Get out. Serena. Get out of this room. Get out of my sight. If you think I'm responsible for losing our baby, then you don't know me at all. I know you well enough to know that you'll never choose family over the FBI. And I know you well enough to know that you'll never forgive me for having a career that doesn't revolve around your comfort level." Kieran left the hospital that day and didn't return. By the time Serena was discharged a week later, he had moved out of their shared home and was staying at his downtown penthouse. The divorce proceedings were swift and brutal. Both of them were too hurt and angry to consider reconciliation. Serena was too devastated by the loss of their child to fight for their marriage. Kieran was too terrified of losing anyone else to risk loving someone whose job put her in constant danger. "I want you to be happy," Kieran said during their final meeting in the lawyer's office. "I want you to find someone who can support your career without losing sleep every night. I want you to find someone who can give you the family I couldn't," Serena replied, her voice carefully controlled. "This isn't about what you couldn't give me. This is about fundamental incompatibility between what we both need." "What do we both need?" "You need the freedom to risk everything for your calling. I need the security of knowing the person I love will come home safely. Those things are mutually exclusive." "Yes, they are." 6 months after their divorce was finalized, Serena transferred to the FBI's Los Angeles field office. 3 months after that, Kieran married his executive assistant, Natasha Winters, in a quiet ceremony that made the business pages rather than the society columns. 18 months later, Natasha gave birth to Ezra Thorne. By that time, Serena was building her reputation as the Bureau's most successful hostage negotiator, using her own trauma to connect with victims and their families in ways that saved lives. 2 years ago, Natasha died in a car accident on a rainy Seattle evening, leaving Kieran to raise 5-year-old Ezra as a single father while running a billion-dollar company. Comment if you've ever had to choose between love and the job that defines you, because what happened next would test everything both Kieran and Serena thought they knew about sacrifice, success, and what really matters when everything else falls apart. 5 years later, Serena Vale had become a legend in FBI circles. Her perfect success rate in hostage negotiations was matched only by her reputation for emotional control under impossible pressure. She had saved corporate executives, kidnapped children, trapped police officers, and countless others who found themselves at the mercy of criminals. What her colleagues didn't know was that her success came from a place of deep personal understanding of loss. Every hostage she saved was the child she couldn't save. Every family she reunited was the family she had lost. Every successful negotiation was proof that she was strong enough to save everyone except herself. Agent Vale, we have a situation developing in Portland. Tech executive taken hostage by disgruntled employees. Local PD is requesting our assistance. Serena looked up from her case files, already mentally preparing for another deployment. Her LA apartment was sparse and functional, packed with commendations and empty of personal relationships. She had built a life that was professionally fulfilling and emotionally safe. I'll be ready in 20 minutes. Actually, there's been a development. The situation has been resolved locally, but we have something bigger developing in Seattle. Seattle? High-profile kidnapping. 5-year-old victim from an elite family. The father is requesting federal involvement due to potential international connections. Serena's heart skipped. She hadn't been back to Seattle since the divorce. The city held too many memories, too many reminders of what she had lost. Can't the Seattle field office handle it? They're requesting you specifically. Your reputation has reached the upper levels of the bureau. This case could be career-defining. What's the family name? Thorne. Tech billionaire, similar profile to the cases you've been handling. Thorne. Serena felt the color drain from her face as the implications hit her. Not just any tech billionaire. Kieran Thorne, her ex-husband, the man she had spent 5 years trying to forget. Agent Vale, are you all right? I need to see the complete case file before I can commit to this assignment. Of course, but the family has specifically requested you. Apparently, the father believes you're the only negotiator with the skills to bring his son home safely. 2 hours later, Serena sat in her supervisor's office, staring at photos of 5-year-old Ezra Thorne. The child looked remarkably like his father, with the same intelligent gray eyes and serious expression. But there was something else in his face, a gentleness that reminded her of Natasha, the woman who had given Kieran the family Serena couldn't. The kidnapping took place at 2:15 p.m. during pickup from Westfield Academy. Agent Rivera briefed her. Private security footage shows 3 suspects, professionally coordinated, in and out in under 90 seconds. Ransom demands? $50 million plus access to classified AI technology that Thorne Technologies has developed for military applications. So this isn't just about money. No. The technology request suggests international involvement. State actors, possibly industrial espionage with a personal kidnapping element. What about the mother? Natasha Thorne died in a car accident 2 years ago. Kieran Thorne has been raising his son as a single father. Serena studied the family photos in the case file. Kieran looked older, more weathered, but still commanded attention in every image. Ezra appeared in dozens of photos, often engaged in activities that suggested a close father-son relationship. Playing in the park, reading bedtime stories, building with blocks, finger painting. Agent Vale, I know this assignment presents personal complications for you. Sir, your marriage to Kieran Thorne is part of your background file. I know this isn't easy, but you're the only negotiator with the combination of skills and success rate that this case requires. What if my personal history compromises my judgment? What if your personal understanding of the family dynamics gives you insights that save this child's life? Serena closed the case file and met her supervisor's eyes. When do I leave for Seattle? Your flight takes off in 3 hours. Agent Rivera will accompany you as your partner on this case. Sir, has Mr. Thorne been informed that I'm the agent being assigned? He will be when you arrive. The family requested you by name. but I don't believe they know about your previous relationship. They will soon enough. Agent Vale, can you do this job professionally despite your personal history? Serena looked down at the photo of Ezra Thorne, a 5-year-old child who shared his father's eyes and had never known that his father was once married to an FBI agent who might have been his stepmother in another life. Yes, sir. I can do this job. Then bring that boy home safely. I will. I always do. But as Serena packed her go-bag for the flight to Seattle, she wondered if her perfect success rate was about to meet its first test in the form of a 5-year-old boy who looked like the man who had once owned her heart completely. The plane descended through Seattle's characteristic gray clouds, offering glimpses of Puget Sound and the city skyline that had once been home. Serena sat in first class, reviewing the case file for the 100th time, trying to approach Ezra Thorne's kidnapping with the clinical detachment that had made her famous. But every photo of the child reminded her of conversations she and Kieran had shared about what their children might look like. Every detail about his kindergarten achievements and artistic talents reminded her of dreams they had built together during 18 months of marriage that felt like a lifetime ago. You okay? Agent Rivera asked from the seat beside her. Marcus Rivera had been her partner for 3 years, one of the few people who understood the cost of her perfect success rate. I'm fine. You've been saying that for the entire flight. Want to try a different answer? I'm professionally prepared to handle this case regardless of personal complications. That's better. More honest. Marcus, what if I can't separate my feelings about Kieran from my judgment about saving his son? Then you'll do what you always do. You'll care more about the victim than about your own comfort, and you'll bring him home safely. This is different. How? Because this child represents everything I lost. Everything I might have had if I'd made different choices. Or everything you might still have if you're brave enough to try again. Serena looked out the airplane window as Seattle grew larger below them. That's not what this is about, isn't it? Serena, you've spent 5 years building walls around your heart. Maybe this case is the universe giving you a chance to tear them down. Maybe this case is the universe testing whether I can save a child whose father blamed me for losing our own child. Maybe you'll save them both. The FBI field office in Seattle was exactly as Serena remembered it, all glass and steel efficiency designed to project federal authority. She and Marcus were escorted to a conference room where the case task force had been assembled, complete with surveillance equipment, psychological profiles, and communication technology. Agent Vale, welcome back to Seattle. Special Agent Jennifer Walsh, the local field supervisor, greeted her with professional warmth. We're grateful to have your expertise on this case. What's the current status? The kidnappers made contact 2 hours ago. Voice only, routed through multiple proxy servers. They're demanding $50 million in cryptocurrency plus access to something called Project Prometheus. What's Project Prometheus? Classified AI technology that Thorne Technologies has been developing for the Pentagon. Machine learning algorithms that could revolutionize autonomous weapons systems. So we're dealing with state actors. Most likely. But the personal targeting of Ezra Thorne suggests someone with a specific vendetta against Kieran Thorne. Has the father been briefed on our involvement? He's waiting in conference room B. We thought you should handle the initial briefing personally. Serena felt her heart rate spike as she realized she was about to face Kieran Thorne for the first time in 5 years. The man who had once been her everything, who had blamed her for the loss of their child, who had moved on to build the family she couldn't give him. Give me 5 minutes to review the communication logs, then I'll meet with him. Agent Vale, there's something else you should know. Mr. Thorne specifically requested you for this case. He said if anyone could bring Ezra home safely, it would be you. He knows I'm assigned to the case? Not yet, but he will in about 5 minutes. Serena took a deep breath, checked her weapon, and gathered the case files. Time to prove that she could save everyone except herself, starting with the son of the man who had once been her whole world. Conference room B felt smaller than it should have as Serena approached the door. Through the glass panel, she could see Kieran Thorne sitting at the conference table, his head in his hands, looking like a man carrying the weight of the world. He was older now, silver threading through his dark hair, lines around his eyes that spoke of stress and sleepless nights. But he was still devastatingly handsome, still possessed of that commanding presence that could fill a room even in his darkest moments. Serena knocked twice and entered. Mr. Thorne, I'm Special Agent Serena Vale with the FBI. I'll be leading the negotiation efforts to bring your son home safely." Kieran looked up, and for a moment, time stopped. His gray eyes met hers with a mixture of shock, disbelief, and something that might have been relief. Serena. Her name on his lips was barely a whisper, filled with 5 years of unspoken words. "Agent Vale," she corrected firmly, moving to the opposite side of the conference table. "I understand your son was taken from his school this afternoon. I can't believe it's really you. Mr. Thorne, I need you to focus on the current situation. Your son's life depends on our ability to work together professionally." "Ezra." He said the name like a prayer. "His name is Ezra. Tell me about the kidnapping. Were there any threats leading up to this incident? Any unusual activity around Ezra's school or your home?" Kieran struggled to shift into the clinical mindset that this conversation required. "There have been some business threats recently. Competitors angry about losing Pentagon contracts to my technology." "What kind of threats?" "Online harassment mostly. Some industrial espionage attempts. Nothing that suggested physical danger to my family." "What about Ezra himself? Any behavioral changes? Any mention of strangers approaching him?" "He's been asking questions about his mother lately. About what she was like, why she died. And he's been..." Kieran's voice broke slightly. "He's been asking about you." "About me?" I used to tell him stories. About the bravest FBI agent in the world who saved people and never gave up. I never told him your name, but I told him about you." Serena felt her professional composure waver for just a moment. "Mr. Thorne, I need you to understand that this is likely not a random kidnapping. The demand for classified technology suggests that someone with intimate knowledge of your business and your family targeted Ezra specifically. Which means they'll kill him if they don't get what they want. Which means we need to understand their true motivations so we can give them what they actually need." "What do you mean?" "Kidnapping a child is personal. Demanding classified technology is business. Someone who combines both has emotional investment in hurting you specifically." Kieran leaned back in his chair, studying Serena's face. "You look different. Mr. Thorne, we need to stay focused. You look stronger, more confident. Success suits you. Professional success is all I have left." The words hung between them like an acknowledgement of everything they had lost. "Serena, I need to tell you something. Agent Vale. And you need to tell me about any enemies who might have taken your son. I need to tell you that I never stopped loving you." The confession hit the room like a bomb. Serena felt her professional composure crack as the words she had longed to hear for 5 years finally reached her ears. "That's not relevant to this case." "It's completely relevant to this case. Because if something happens to Ezra, if I lose him the way I lost you, I won't survive it. You won't lose him. I don't fail, remember? You didn't fail before, either. I did. I failed you. I failed our marriage. I failed to support you when you needed me most. Kieran, I can't do this. Not now. Not with your son's life at stake. Ezra loves you already, you know, without ever meeting you. Because I told him about the brave agent who saves children. He's not my child. He's your son with Natasha. The woman you married 6 months after our divorce was finalized. The woman I married because I was too broken to fight for the woman I actually loved." Before Serena could respond, Agent Rivera appeared in the doorway with urgent news. "Agent Vale, the kidnappers just made contact again. They want to speak directly with you. Share this if you believe a mother's instinct never dies, even for a child that isn't biologically yours, because what happens next will test everything Serena thought she knew about saving lives when the life at stake belongs to the family she lost." The FBI command center had been transformed into a high-tech nerve center within hours of Serena's arrival. Multiple screens displayed surveillance feeds, communication logs, and psychological profiles while technicians monitored every electronic signal within a 50-mile radius of Seattle. "Agent Vale, line 1. The caller is using voice modulation software, but our analysts are working on identification." Serena put on her headset, signaling for complete silence in the room. Kieran stood behind the glass partition, his hands pressed against the window as he prepared to hear his son's kidnappers for the first time. "This is Special Agent Serena Vale with the FBI. Agent Vale, your reputation precedes you." The voice was electronically distorted, but she could detect traces of an accent underneath the modulation. "I specifically requested you for this case." "Why?" "Because you understand loss. You understand what it feels like to have everything stolen from you by circumstances beyond your control. The words hit Serena like ice water. This wasn't random. The kidnappers knew about her personal history. I understand that you have a 5-year-old boy who wants to go home to his father. Let's focus on making that happen. Oh, but Agent Vale, this is about much more than ransom money. This is about justice. This is about Kieran Thorne finally paying for the lives he's destroyed. What lives? Put Thorne on the line. It's time he heard from an old friend. Serena looked through the glass at Kieran, seeing confusion and growing dread in his expression. She motioned for him to put on a headset. Kieran Thorne here. Hello, Kieran. It's been a long time. Even through the voice modulation, something in the tone made Kieran's face go pale. Who is this? Someone whose life you destroyed for profit. Someone whose family paid the price for your success. I don't know what you're talking about. Project Atlas. 5 years ago. Ring any bells? Kieran's hands began to shake. Serena could see recognition dawning in his eyes, followed by something that looked like horror. Vincent. Kieran's voice was barely a whisper. Vincent Kozlov. Your former partner. The man you betrayed for a Pentagon contract. Serena frantically signaled for the tech team to run background checks on Vincent Kozlov while keeping the kidnapper talking. Vincent, if this is about our business disagreement, we can resolve this without involving my son. Business disagreement? The laugh that came through the speakers was bitter and cold. You stole my technology, sold it to the military, and left me with nothing. My wife killed herself because of the financial ruin you caused. My daughter died because we couldn't afford her medical treatment. Vincent, I had no idea about your family's situation. You had no idea because you didn't care. You got your Pentagon contract and your billions, and you never looked back at the collateral damage. Serena stepped in, her negotiator training taking over. Vincent, I understand you're in pain. I understand you feel wronged. But Ezra is an innocent child who has nothing to do with your business conflict with his father. Ezra is everything to Kieran, just like my daughter was everything to me. He's about to learn what it feels like to lose the person who matters most. Where is he, Vincent? Let me talk to him. You want to talk to the boy? Fine. But remember, Agent Vale, you have 46 hours to deliver $50 million and the complete Project Prometheus files, or Kieran Thorne will join me in knowing what it's like to bury a child. The line went quiet for a moment. Then a small voice came through the speakers, scared but trying to be brave. Kieran pressed closer to the glass, tears streaming down his face. Ezra, I'm here, son. Are you hurt? I'm okay. I'm scared, but I'm trying to be brave like the FBI lady in the stories you tell me. Serena felt her heart clench at the child's courage. Ezra, this is Agent Vale. I'm with the FBI, and I'm going to bring you home safely. Are you the brave lady from Daddy's stories? The one who saves children? Yes, sweetheart. I'm here to save you. I knew you would come. Daddy said you always save people, and you never give up. That's right. I never give up. Can you tell me anything about where you are? It's dark and cold. There are big machines that make noise. It smells like oil and metal. That's very helpful. Are there windows? One small one, but it's too high to see out of. But I can hear boats sometimes. Ezra, you're being very brave. Your daddy is proud of you. Agent Vale, will you tell Daddy that I love him? And that I'm not scared because I know he'll find me. You can tell him yourself when you get home. Time's up. Vincent's voice cut back in. 45 hours and 37 minutes. Agent Vale. Don't disappoint me the way your ex-husband disappointed everyone who trusted him. The line went dead, leaving the command center in tense silence. Kieran burst through the door, separating the observation area from the communications center. What was he talking about? Project Atlas? I've never heard of a Project Atlas. Vincent Kozlov, Agent Rivera read from his computer screen. Former technology partner with Thorne Industries 5 years ago. Filed a lawsuit claiming theft of intellectual property related to military AI contracts. The lawsuit was dismissed, Kieran said quickly. Vincent's claims were baseless. Were they? Serena's voice was sharp. Because right now, your son is paying the price for whatever happened between you and Vincent Kozlov. Vincent was brilliant but unstable. He had gambling debts, addiction problems. When our partnership dissolved, he blamed me for his personal issues. What about his wife and daughter? I heard his wife died, but I didn't know the circumstances. His daughter. Kieran's face went pale. Oh God. His daughter had leukemia. He asked me for an advance on future profits to pay for experimental treatment. And our partnership was already dissolving. I couldn't give him money for a business that was failing. So his daughter died. I didn't know she died. I hoped they found another way to pay for treatment. Serena stared at her ex-husband, seeing him clearly for perhaps the first time. You knew his daughter was dying, and you chose business over her life. It wasn't that simple. It was exactly that simple. A child needed help, and you said no. Serena, you don't understand the complexities of business partnerships. I understand that Vincent Kozlov lost everything while you built an empire. I understand that his daughter died while you became a billionaire. I understand that now his pain is threatening your son. What do you want me to say? That I should have given him money that would have bankrupted both of us. I want you to say that you understand why he hates you enough to kidnap your child. The weight of that realization settled over Kieran like a physical blow. This is my fault. Yes, it is. And now we have to fix it. How? By understanding what Vincent really wants. This isn't about money or technology. This is about making you suffer the way he suffered. So what do? We give him what he actually needs, which is acknowledgement, apology, justice for his daughter's death. And if that's not enough, then we find him and take Ezra back by force. The next 12 hours were a blur of surveillance, psychological profiling, and strategic planning. Serena worked with minimal sleep, driven by the image of Ezra's frightened but brave voice and the weight of Kieran's expectations. Agent Vale, we've located the source of the kidnapper's communications, Agent Rivera reported. Abandoned industrial complex in South Seattle. Former manufacturing plant that's been empty for 3 years. Security? Minimal. But the complex is large, with multiple buildings and underground passages. If they're holding Ezra there, it could take hours to search every possible location. We don't have hours. Vincent is unstable and escalating. The longer this goes on, the more dangerous he becomes. What do you recommend? I want to talk to him again. Really talk to him. Not about ransom demands or deadlines, but about his daughter. That's risky. Personal conversations can trigger emotional responses that endanger the victim. Or they can create connections that save lives. Vincent Kozlov isn't a professional criminal. He's a grieving father seeking revenge. If I can reach the part of him that loved his daughter, I might be able to save Ezra. Kieran appeared beside them, looking like he hadn't slept in days. I want to be part of the conversation. Absolutely not, Serena said immediately. He hates me. If he's going to kill Ezra anyway, I want the chance to apologize for what happened to his daughter. Apologies won't bring back his child. No, but they might prevent him from taking mine. Serena studied Kieran's face, seeing desperation and genuine remorse there. If I let you participate in this conversation, you do exactly what I tell you. No improvisation, no emotional outbursts, no trying to negotiate on your own. Agreed. And if I tell you to stop talking, you stop immediately. Understood. Agent Vale, one of the technicians called out. We're getting another communication from the kidnappers. Serena put on her headset, signaling for Kieran to do the same. Vincent, this is Agent Vale. Agent Vale, I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday. About loss and justice and the price of betrayal. What have you been thinking? I've been thinking about your loss. Your marriage to Kieran Thorne. Your miscarriage. The way your perfect life fell apart when reality intruded. Serena's blood ran cold. Vincent had been researching her personal history, using her trauma as psychological warfare. My personal life isn't relevant to this negotiation, isn't it? You know what it's like to lose a child. You know what it's like to have someone you trusted destroy your dreams. I know what it's like to rebuild from tragedy. I know what it's like to channel loss into purpose. Do you? Or do you know what it's like to run away from the person who hurt you and spend 5 years pretending you've moved on? The accuracy of his psychological assessment hit Serena like a physical blow, but her training kicked in, allowing her to maintain composure while processing the emotional attack. Vincent, what happened to your daughter? What happened to yours? I lost my child because of circumstances beyond anyone's control. You lost your daughter because someone chose profit over her life. Exactly. Kieran Thorne chose money over my Elena's life. Tell me about Elena. The silence stretched so long that Serena wondered if the connection had been lost. When Vincent finally spoke, his voice was raw with grief even through the electronic distortion. She was 7 years old. bright as sunshine, loved painting and stories and asking questions about everything. The leukemia came fast, aggressive. The doctors said experimental treatment might save her, but it cost more money than I had. What did you do? I begged. I sold everything I owned. I asked Kieran for help, showed him pictures of Elena in the hospital, explained that the treatment could save her life. And he said no. He said business was business. He said he couldn't make financial decisions based on emotional appeals. I'm sorry for your loss, Vincent. I'm sorry that Elena didn't get the chance to grow up and paint pictures and ask questions. Are you? Or are you just saying what you think I want to hear? I'm saying what I know to be true. Children deserve protection. They deserve adults who will fight for their lives. The way you fought for your unborn child. The way I fight for every child in danger. The way I'm fighting for Ezra right now. Ezra, who is everything my Elena never got. The best schools, the best medical care, a father who can afford to protect him from anything. Ezra, who is an innocent child who had nothing to do with the decisions that hurt your family. Ezra, who represents everything Kieran Thorne values more than human life. Kieran couldn't stay silent any longer. Vincent, please, let me talk to you. Well, the great Kieran Thorne wants to have a conversation. I want to apologize. I want to tell you that I was wrong about Elena, wrong about your request for help, wrong about putting business above human decency. 5 years too late. I know it's too late for Elena, too late for your wife, too late to undo the damage I caused. But it's not too late for Ezra, isn't it? 42 hours and 16 minutes, Kieran. That's how long Elena fought in the hospital before the treatments we couldn't afford might have saved her life. Vincent, if I could bring back your daughter, I would. If I could give you every dollar I've earned, every success I've achieved, to undo her death, I would do it without hesitation. But you can't. No, I can't. But I can acknowledge that I failed her. I can admit that I was so focused on protecting my business that I forgot about protecting what really mattered. Which was what? Family. Children. The responsibility we have to care for people who can't protect themselves. Pretty words, Kieran. But words don't resurrect dead children. No, they don't. But they can prevent more children from dying. Vincent, what do you really want from me? I want you to suffer the way I suffered. I want you to know what it feels like to lose everything that matters. I already know what that feels like. Do you? I lost Serena. I lost our child. I lost the love of my life because I was too selfish and scared to support her when she needed me most. Serena felt tears she had been suppressing for 5 years begin to flow as Kieran's words reached her through the headset. And yet you remarried, Vincent pointed out. You had another child. You rebuilt your life while mine was ending. I tried to replace what I'd lost, but you can't replace real love with convenient arrangements. I spent 2 years married to a woman I cared about but didn't love, raising a son who deserved better than a father who was emotionally unavailable. Poor Kieran Thorne. So tragic. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking for mercy for my son, who doesn't deserve to pay for my mistakes. The way my daughter paid for your mistakes. Yes, exactly like that. The admission hung in the air, raw and honest. Vincent, Serena interjected, what would justice look like for Elena? What would honor her memory in a way that doesn't create more grieving fathers? I don't know anymore. I've been so angry for so long that I've forgotten what Elena would want. What kind of child was she? What did she care about? She cared about fairness, about helping people. She used to give away her toys to kids who didn't have any. Would she want other children to suffer because she couldn't be saved? No. She would want other children to be protected. Then protect Ezra. Not for Kieran, but for Elena. Show the world that her life mattered by saving another child's life. You don't understand. Kieran needs to pay for what he did. He has paid. He's been paying for 5 years. He lost his marriage, his chance at happiness, his ability to love without fear. Make him pay by living with the knowledge that he owes Ezra's life to your mercy. And the money? The technology? Keep the money. Use it to start a foundation in Elena's name. Use it to help other children get the medical treatment she needed. And the classified technology? We both know you don't really want military secrets. You want acknowledgement that Elena's life mattered. The silence stretched for several minutes. When Vincent finally spoke, his voice was different, smaller, more human. Can I talk to the boy again? Ezra. Serena signaled for the technicians to maintain recording. Can you hear us? I'm here. Ezra's voice was tired but still brave. "Are you the man who's keeping me here?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because your father hurt my family a long time ago." "Did he mean to hurt your family?" "I don't know anymore. My dad makes mistakes sometimes. But he always says sorry and tries to fix them." "Did he say sorry to you?" "He's saying sorry now." "Then maybe you could let me go home? I miss my dad, and he's probably really scared." "You're not scared." "I am scared, but I'm also brave. My mommy used to say that being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you do the right thing even when you're scared." "Your mother sounds like she was wise." "She was. She died when I was little, but I remember her voice. She used to tell me stories about heroes who saved people." "What kind of heroes?" "All kinds. Police officers and firefighters and doctors and FBI agents who helped children come home safely." Serena felt her heart breaking as she listened to this 5-year-old child try to negotiate for his own freedom by appealing to his kidnapper's humanity. "Ezra," Vincent said slowly, "if I let you go home, will you ask your father to do something for me?" "What?" "Will you ask him to help other children who need expensive medicine? Will you ask him to make sure no other little girls like my Elena have to die because their families can't afford treatment?" "Yes. Dad helps lots of people. He would definitely help sick children." "How do you know?" "Because he helps me when I'm sick. He stays up all night when I have fever, and he reads to me in the hospital when I have to get tests." Dads who love their children want to help all children. Your father is very lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have him too. Can I go home now?" "Vincent," Serena interrupted gently. "Ezra has been very brave, but he needs to be with his father. Children need their families. The way Elena needed her family." "Yes, exactly like that." "Agent Vale." "Yes. If I let the boy go, what happens to me?" "That depends on how you let him go. If you release him safely and surrender peacefully, the courts will consider your circumstances and your grief as mitigating factors. And if I don't surrender, then this ends badly for everyone, including Ezra. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of hurting. I want Elena to rest in peace, not be the reason for more violence. Then let her be the reason for mercy instead." "Kieran." "I'm here, Vincent. I want $50 million donated to children's cancer research in Elena's name. I want a foundation established to pay for experimental treatments for families who can't afford them." "Done. Consider it done. And I want you to look at pictures of my daughter. I want you to remember her face so you never again choose profit over a child's life." "I'll remember. I promise I'll remember." "Agent Vale." "Yes, Vincent. There's an address I'm going to give you. The boy will be there in 2 hours. Come alone." "Vincent, I can't come alone. This is an FBI operation. You can and you will. Because you understand what it's like to lose everything, and you won't risk this boy's life on protocol." "Where's the address?" "Pier 47, Warehouse 12. I'll leave him there and walk away." "But Agent Vale, if I see any other agents, if I suspect any kind of setup, the boy dies." "I understand. And Agent Vale, thank you for talking to me like Elena mattered." She did matter. She always mattered. The line went dead, leaving the command center in stunned silence. "Agent Vale," Agent Rivera said immediately, "you cannot go to that warehouse alone. It's against every protocol we have. It's also the only chance we have to get Ezra back safely. It could be a trap. It could be. But Vincent Kozlov isn't a hardened criminal. He's a grieving father who just remembered that he doesn't want to become a child killer." "I'm going with you," Kieran said. "Absolutely not. Serena, I can't let you risk your life for my son while I wait safely in a government building. You can and you will. Because if something goes wrong, Ezra needs at least one parent to come home to. And if something happens to you, then you'll raise your son and remember that someone cared enough about his life to risk everything to save him. Serena, I love you. I never stopped loving you. If you die trying to save Ezra, I'll have lost everything that matters to me. Then don't let me die. Have faith that I'm as good at this job as my reputation suggests." 2 hours later, Serena sat alone in her FBI vehicle outside Warehouse 12 on Pier 47. The Seattle waterfront was foggy and deserted, the kind of atmospheric evening that made everything feel like a movie set designed for dramatic confrontations. Her earpiece was connected to the command center, where Kieran and the FBI team were monitoring her vital signs and waiting for updates. Her weapon was ready but concealed, her negotiation training overriding every survival instinct that told her this was a terrible idea. Command, this is Agent Vale. I'm approaching the warehouse. Copy, Agent Vale. We have eyes on your position from a distance. No sign of suspects or the victim yet. Serena entered the warehouse through a side door that had been left unlocked. The space was vast and dark, filled with abandoned machinery and the smell of rust and salt water. Her footsteps echoed in the emptiness as she made her way deeper into the building. Ezra, she called out. Ezra, are you here? Agent Vale. A small voice answered from somewhere in the darkness. Yes, sweetheart. I'm here to take you home. I'm over here. I'm okay. Serena followed the voice to a corner of the warehouse where Ezra Thorne sat on a makeshift bed of blankets and pillows. He was unharmed but obviously exhausted, his clothes dirty and his hair disheveled. When he saw her, his face lit up with relief and something that looked like recognition. You look like Dad described you, he said as she approached. How did he describe me? Beautiful and brave and really smart. He said you were the kind of person who never gave up on people. Serena felt her heart clench as she knelt beside this child, who looked so much like his father but possessed a gentleness that was entirely his own. Are you hurt? No. The man was sad, but he wasn't mean to me. He gave me food and blankets and told me stories about his daughter. What kind of stories? About how much he loved her and how she used to paint pictures of flowers. He showed me a photo of her. She looked really happy. You were very brave, Ezra. I was scared, but I tried to remember what Mom used to say about being brave. What did she say? That brave people aren't the ones who aren't scared. Brave people are the ones who do the right thing even when they're scared. Your mom was very wise. She was. Are you going to marry my dad again? The question caught Serena completely off guard. What? He talks about you sometimes when he thinks I'm sleeping. He says you were the best person he ever knew and that he made a really big mistake. Ezra, that's complicated grown-up stuff. I don't think it's complicated. If you love someone and they love you back, you should be together. What makes you think your dad loves me? Because he keeps a picture of you in his desk drawer. And because he got really quiet and sad when he thought you might be in danger tonight. Before Serena could respond to this revelation, she heard footsteps echoing through the warehouse. Her hand moved instinctively to her weapon as a figure emerged from the shadows. Vincent Kozlov was smaller than she had expected, a thin man in his 40s with prematurely gray hair and eyes that held years of grief. He looked like someone who had been carrying unbearable weight for far too long. Agent Vale. Vincent, thank you for keeping your word. I told you I was tired of being angry. My Elena wouldn't want more children to suffer because of her death. You loved her very much. She was everything to me. When she died, I forgot how to be human. I forgot how to see other people's children as precious instead of seeing them as symbols of what I'd lost. Children have a way of reminding us what really matters. Ezra reminded me, talking to him about his mother, seeing how much he loves his father despite everything. Elena would have liked him. I think they would have been friends. Agent Vale, there's something else I need to tell you. What? Kieran Thorne isn't the villain I convinced myself he was. When I asked him for money to save Elena, he was dealing with his own family crisis. His wife, you, had just lost a baby. He was grieving too. Serena felt the world shift around her as Vincent's words sank in. What do you mean? I did research before I planned this kidnapping. I learned about your miscarriage, about how your marriage fell apart. Kieran wasn't just being cold when he refused to help me. He was broken. That doesn't excuse his choice. No, it doesn't. But it explains it. Two grieving fathers making terrible decisions because we were too hurt to think clearly. Vincent, why are you telling me this? Because you and Kieran love each other, and you're letting your past pain prevent you from building a future together. Don't make the same mistake I made. Don't let grief destroy more love than it already has. It's not that simple. It is that simple. Love is rare and precious, and you're both idiots if you throw it away twice. Ezra, who had been listening to this conversation with the intense focus that children brought to important adult discussions, spoke up. I agree with Vincent. You and Dad should stop being sad about old stuff and be happy about new stuff. What new stuff? Serena asked. Like being a family. Like me having a mom again and Dad having someone to make him smile. Ezra, I'm not your mom. You could be, if you wanted to. Your mom was Natasha. She loved you very much. I know. And I'll always love her and miss her. But people can have more than one mom, can't they? Like how people can love more than one person without loving the first person less. The wisdom of this 5-year-old child hit Serena like a revelation. Love wasn't finite. Family wasn't exclusive. Hearts could expand to include new people without diminishing existing love. Agent Vale, Vincent said quietly, I'm going to walk out of this warehouse now. I'm going to turn myself in to the agents waiting outside. But before I do, I want you to promise me something. What? Promise me you won't waste the second chance you're being given. Promise me you'll choose love over fear. Vincent, Elena would want other people to be happy. She would want children to have complete families. Don't let my daughter's death be meaningless. Your daughter's death wasn't meaningless. Her life mattered, and you loved her completely. Then honor her memory by choosing love. Vincent Kozlov walked out of the warehouse and into the arms of waiting FBI agents, leaving Serena alone with Ezra and the weight of everything that had been said. Agent Vale, Ezra said quietly, are you going to take me home to Dad now? Yes, sweetheart. Let's go home. The FBI command center erupted in cheers as Serena walked through the doors with Ezra safe in her arms. Kieran rushed toward them, his face showing 5 years of accumulated fear and relief as he embraced his son. Ezra, are you okay? Are you hurt? I'm fine, Dad. Agent Vale saved me, just like you said she would. Kieran looked over his son's head at Serena, his eyes filled with gratitude and something deeper. Thank you. Thank you for bringing him home. I told you I don't fail. No, you don't. You never have. Dad, Ezra said, pulling back to look at his father. Vincent told me about his daughter Elena. He said she died because she couldn't get medicine that costs too much money. I know, son. Are you going to help other kids like Elena? Are you going to make sure they can get the medicine they need? Yes. We're going to start a foundation in Elena's name. We're going to help as many children as we can. Good. Because Agent Vale says children deserve protection. Agent Vale is right. Dad, can I ask you something? Anything. Do you love Agent Vale? The question hung in the air while everyone in the command center pretended not to listen to the most important conversation of 3 lives. Yes, son. I love her very much. Do you love her enough to marry her again? If she would have me. Agent Vale. Ezra turned to Serena with the directness that children used when they wanted real answers. Do you love my dad? Serena looked at this remarkable child who had been through trauma and terror, but was still more concerned about his father's happiness than his own experience. Yes, Ezra. I love your dad very much. Then why don't you get married and be a family? Because sometimes adults make things complicated when they don't need to be. That's silly. Love isn't complicated. Love is the easiest thing in the world. Is it? Yes. You just choose to love someone every day, even when they make mistakes or have bad days or forget to put their dishes in the dishwasher. Kieran laughed despite the emotional intensity of the moment. Where did you learn to be so wise? From Mom. And from you. And from Agent Vale, who risked her life to save me even though she didn't have to. I did have to, Serena said quietly. I had to because you're important, and because people who love you were counting on me. And because you love Dad, so you love me too? Yes, because I love your dad, and anyone he loves becomes important to me too. So we're already a family. We just need to make it official. Dr. Helena Cross, the child psychologist who had been brought in to help with Ezra's recovery, watched this exchange with professional amazement and personal emotion. In 30 years of family therapy, she said quietly to Agent Rivera, I've never seen a child process trauma this well while simultaneously orchestrating his parents' reconciliation. That kid is going to be running the world someday, Rivera replied. Probably by next week. Kieran knelt down to Ezra's eye level, his voice serious but gentle. Son, Agent Vale and I hurt each other very badly a long time ago. Sometimes when people hurt each other, it takes time to learn how to trust again. But you do trust her, don't you? You trusted her to save my life. Yes, I trusted her to save your life. And Agent Vale, you trust Dad to be a good father to me, don't you? Yes, I trust him to be a wonderful father. Then you trust each other with the most important things. Everything else is just details. Serena and Kieran looked at each other over their son's head, seeing 5 years of pain and growth and accumulated wisdom in each other's eyes. Ezra's right, Kieran said quietly. Everything else is just details. Is it? Serena asked. What about our careers? What about the reasons our marriage failed before? Our marriage failed because we were young and scared and didn't know how to support each other through crisis. We're not young anymore. No, we're not. And we're not the same people who made those mistakes. No, we're not. And we have a 5-year-old relationship counselor who seems to have figured out what took us 5 years to understand. That love is a choice you make every day. That family is worth fighting for. That second chances are precious gifts that shouldn't be wasted. Kieran reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box, the same one he had been carrying for 5 years, waiting for a moment that might never come. Serena Vale, will you marry me again? Not because we're the same people who fell in love 8 years ago, but because we're better people who love each other more deeply than we did before. Will you support my career even when it scares you? Will you trust me to be worth coming home to? Will you help me raise Ezra to be the extraordinary man he's already becoming? Will you help me honor Elena's memory by building a foundation that saves children's lives? Yes to all of it. Yes to building a life together that's based on truth and communication and the daily choice to choose love over fear. Serena took the ring that had been waiting for her for 5 years, sliding it onto her finger where it belonged. Yes, Kieran Thorne, I'll marry you again. Ezra cheered so loudly that the entire FBI command center burst into applause. Agent Rivera was seen wiping tears from his eyes, while Dr. Cross made notes about the therapeutic value of love triangles involving precocious children. When's the wedding? Ezra asked immediately. When do you think it should be? Serena asked. Next weekend. I want to be the ring bearer, and I want Vincent to be released from jail so he can come. And I want to start the Elena Foundation right away so other kids don't have to die waiting for medicine. Those are all excellent ideas, Kieran said. Anything else? I want Agent Vale to be my mom officially, and I want us to live in the same house. And I want Dad to teach me about technology so I can help save people when I grow up. What do you want to be when you grow up? Serena asked. An FBI agent who specializes in technology crimes. Like you and Dad together. That's a perfect combination. I know. I'm very smart. Yes, you are. 6 months later, the Elena Kozlov Foundation had funded experimental treatments for 47 children with terminal illnesses. Vincent Kozlov had been released from federal prison after serving a reduced sentence in exchange for his cooperation and testimony about the importance of mental health resources for grieving parents. The wedding was held in Kieran's backyard, with Ezra serving as ring bearer and Vincent Kozlov sitting in the front row, holding a photo of his daughter Elena. Dr. Cross officiated the ceremony, declaring it the most psychologically healthy family formation she had ever witnessed. Do you, Kieran, take Serena to be your wife, promising to support her dreams, trust her judgment, and love her through all the extraordinary and ordinary moments of life together? I do. With everything I've learned about love, everything I've learned about loss, and everything I hope to learn about building a family together. Do you, Serena, take Kieran to be your husband, promising to trust his growth, share your strength, and choose love over fear every day for the rest of your lives? I do. With all my heart, all my hope, and all my faith in second chances. Ezra, do you accept Serena as your stepmother and partner in raising you to be the extraordinary man you're already becoming? I do. And I promise to help them remember that love is easy when you choose it every day. By the power vested in me by the state of Washington and the wisdom of one very smart 5-year-old, I now pronounce you husband, wife, and officially a family. As they kissed to seal their remarriage, Ezra cheered, and Vincent Kozlov smiled for the first time since his daughter's death. Agent Rivera caught the bouquet, causing him to blush and mumble something about being too old for such nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Cross announced, I present to you the Thorne family, living proof that love really can conquer all when it's supported by wisdom, patience, and the occasional intervention of a very wise child. During the reception, Serena found a quiet moment with Vincent Kozlov, who was looking at family photos that Ezra had insisted on showing him. How are you doing, Vincent? Better. Getting help, working with grief counselors, volunteering with the foundation. Elena would be proud that her death led to other children being saved. She would be proud of you for choosing healing over revenge. I almost chose wrong. If that boy hadn't reminded me who Elena really was, who I used to be before grief consumed me. Children have a way of seeing clearly through adult complications. Ezra is special. He's lucky to have you both. We're lucky to have him. Agent Vale, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think Elena would have liked this? Seeing families come together, seeing children saved because of her memory? I think Elena would have loved seeing love win over fear. I think she would have loved seeing her daddy choose healing over hatred. Thank you for everything. For saving that boy, for giving Kieran a second chance, for showing me that grief doesn't have to end in more grief. As the evening progressed, Serena found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought them all to this moment. She had spent 5 years building walls around her heart, convinced that professional success was enough to fill the emptiness left by lost love. But love, it turned out, wasn't something you could replace with career achievements or personal strength. Love was something you had to choose again and again, even when it scared you, even when it required forgiveness, even when it meant risking everything you had built to create something better. Mom. Ezra appeared beside her during a quiet moment between dances. I still get excited when you call me that. It feels really good to say it too. Can I tell you something? Always. I'm glad Vincent took me. Ezra, you don't have to be glad about being kidnapped. I'm not glad about being scared, but I'm glad it brought you and Dad back together. I'm glad it made us a family. We would have found our way back to each other eventually. Would you? Because Dad was really sad, and you were really far away. Yes, sweetheart. Real love always finds a way home. Good. Because I love our family exactly the way it is now. So do I, Ezra. So do I. As the night continued, Kieran joined them, pulling both Serena and Ezra into a hug that felt like coming home after years of wandering. I have something to tell you both, he said. What's that? Serena asked. I've been working on a surprise. A new project that combines AI technology with medical research to help children with rare diseases get faster diagnoses and better treatments. Really? Ezra's eyes lit up with excitement. Really? And I want to name it the Elena Ezra Initiative. Elena's name to honor her memory and help other children like her, and Ezra's name because you reminded us all what really matters. Can I help with the project? Ezra asked. When you're older, I hope you'll run it. This is perfect, Serena said, tears in her eyes. Elena would be so proud. And our son will grow up knowing that he helped save children's lives, Kieran added. Our son, Serena repeated, loving the sound of those words. Our family, Ezra declared with 5-year-old finality. Complete and perfect and exactly right. Later that evening, as they tucked Ezra into bed in what was now officially their home, he looked up at both his parents with sleepy contentment. Mom, Dad, can I ask you something? Of course, they said in unison. Are you going to give me a little brother or sister? Kieran and Serena exchanged glances over their son's head, both smiling at his directness. Would you like a little brother or sister? Serena asked. Maybe, but they have to be as smart and brave as our family. I think we can arrange that, Kieran said, squeezing Serena's hand. Good, because our family makes really good people. Yes, Serena said, kissing Ezra's forehead. Our family makes really good people. As they turned off the lights and left Ezra to sleep, Serena and Kieran stood in the hallway of their home, finally together after 5 years of loss and longing. Any regrets? Kieran asked. Only one. What's that? That it took a kidnapping and a grieving father to bring us back together. Maybe we needed all of it. The pain, the growth, the reminder of what really matters. Maybe we did. I love you, Serena Thorne. I love you too, Kieran Thorne. And I love the family we've built together. All 3 of us. All 3 of us. Plus the children we'll save through Elena's foundation, plus any children we might have in the future, plus Vincent, and everyone else who becomes part of our extended family. That's a lot of love. The best families have a lot of love. Subscribe for more stories about love, loss, and the courage to risk your heart again. Because the greatest love stories are the ones that prove it's never too late to choose love over fear, family over safety, and hope over the pain of the past. The moral of this story reaches far beyond romance into the very heart of what it means to be human. Sometimes the things that break us also teach us how to become strong enough to save others. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are struggling with their own unbearable pain. And sometimes the children in our lives are wise enough to see the simple truths that adults complicate with fear and pride. Never underestimate the power of a child to heal broken hearts and bring families together. Never let past pain prevent you from building future joy. And never forget that love isn't a feeling you fall into, but a choice you make every day, especially when it's difficult, especially when it requires courage, especially when it means forgiving the unforgivable and choosing hope over fear. Sometimes the greatest gifts come from our greatest trials. Sometimes the people we think we've lost forever are just waiting for the right moment to come home. And sometimes, love really can conquer all, especially when it's guided by the wisdom of a 5-year-old who understands that families aren't just born, they're built by people brave enough to choose each other again and again, no matter what storms they've weathered together. In the end, it wasn't the FBI's resources or Serena's perfect track record that saved Ezra Thorne. It was love. Love that had never really died. Love that had been waiting for the right moment to bloom again. Love that was strong enough to turn enemies into family and grief into purpose. And sometimes, just sometimes, that's exactly the kind of love that changes the world, one child at a time, one family at a time, one second chance at a time.